Welcome to a micro-learning on graphic organizers. The term graphic organizer commonly describes two-dimensional visual knowledge representations, including flowcharts, timelines, and tables, that show relationships among concepts or processes by means of spatial position, connecting lines, and intersecting figures. Graphic organizers give students a way to visualize information and organize it in a way that makes sense. Graphic organizers, sometimes referred to as simply GOs, are a great way to form a visual picture of information and discover how concepts, facts, terms, and ideas relate to each other. When students see and experience information in various ways, they may learn something new about it and retain the information more readily. As Moore and Riedence noted in 1984, the effects of using these learning tools are greater when they are used after initial exposure to the content and not before or during the learning. When students have sufficient surface knowledge, concept maps and graphic organizers allow them to explore connections and relationships and thus deepen their learning. Another important note about graphic organizers and concept maps is to remember that they are an intermediate step to something else, discussion, or perhaps writing. Once students or participants fill in their organizers or maps, the lesson should not be over. They should share what they have learned with others in the class or session. This allows fellow participants to see different perspectives and an opportunity to learn even more. So how can graphic organizers aid in learning? Graphic organizers can help learners make connections and consider various aspects of learning, including relating information to main themes and ideas, placing information in sequential order, prioritizing ideas, breaking down concepts to its critical attributes, documenting cause and effect relationships, comparing and contrasting concepts, organizing problems and solutions. Graphic organizers can even sometimes look like other pictures, which again helps jog the memory and aid to learning retention. For example, a fishbone, a ladder, a human body, or even a bridge. Some more common examples of graphic organizers and their uses include concept maps. Concept maps illustrate relationships between two or more concepts. The central concept is at the top and relationships are spelled out in the connectors. Mind maps. Mind maps are visual representations that have a hierarchy around a central idea. The branches constitute the related ideas and components, from central branches to smaller twigs. Venn diagrams. Venn diagrams compare and contrast two parallel concepts. Ways in which the ideas are alike are included in the circle intersections and differences in the outer sections of the circles. And lastly, a few best practices when using graphic organizers during the learning experience. Allow students to choose their own organizers. As you have seen in this presentation, there are many different types of graphic organizers, semantic webs, and concept maps. Allow students the choice to decide if they would like to organize their knowledge into compare and contrast, a diagram, or mind map with a central idea. This exercise will allow the instructor to identify who is grasping concepts and who might be struggling. When it's time to share, the exercise will allow other students to see different ways to process, and they may learn something new that they would not have seen before. Avoid giving out copies of graphic organizers. Have students construct their own if possible. If they are not familiar at all with graphic organizers, it's okay to give examples of how they work. But once they understand the concept of graphic organizers, allow them to be creative and stretch their minds. Once they learn how to organize information in this way, it will become a habit. Parents have even reported students using graphic organizers at home unprompted to learn to understand new concepts once they are familiar with this process. Build prior knowledge before asking students to complete a graphic organizers. It is critical that students have prior knowledge of a subject before they begin to organize information about it. If not, they will simply copy what they are hearing, and this is not learning. After the initial understanding of a subject, students are ready to identify relationships and connections between the ideas. This is when the graphic organizer should be introduced. Continue to use the organizers as learning tools. Remember, the point of the graphic organizer is not to just fill in the blanks, it's about the learning. They are about making sense of new knowledge and concepts, drawing conclusions and seeing things in different ways, comparing and contrasting, grouping and consolidating. Have students continue to build and reflect on what they have learned and share with others. This will make the learning experience even richer.